Hey lovely. So while I was waiting for the last video upload, I'm actually going to go do my what I call dance yoga. Decided to just go ahead and start on another project, which is this one in front of me, which is to formulate in a very simple, concise way what energies feel the most nourishing to different parts of my body. So basically the overall holistic. So you see, spiritually, what's most nourishing is openness for me. Mentally, what is most nourishing is being stimulated. What emotionally is most nourishing for me is sharing, and what is most nourishing for me physically, obviously, is the highest level of nourishment. And so this was just like a way for me to clearly, concisely just be aware of my own nourishment style, but in particular in sharing with others and connection, just be aware of, okay, looking at a particular experience, how does it relate to these feelings, or what level of nourishment is, and I don't use the term nourishment, but what level of nourishment is any particular experience offering to this particular part of my being. So that's one thing to say, that I was spiritually guided to do this a while ago and just haven't done it because it just didn't feel right. While waiting for the video, it actually did, and I say that to share as a part of this video. When spiritually guided to do something, do it, because it's super important. Also, to share that I am not approaching this question just doing videos from one aspect. I actually also call, which I forgot to share in the last video, I called my cousin. He is the last remaining person who alive in my family that I actually currently have connection with. And I actually had been spiritually guided a while ago, actually, to ask him. I had thought about calling him a while ago. To ask him why my dad was so disconnected from his family. Like, I know why we were disconnected from my mom and my mom's family, but I'd always wondered, like, well, why does my dad not have contact with his own family? As far as I know, there was nothing egregious that happened, no major blow-ups, no major fights, conflicts, yada yada. But growing up, I had no contact with either side of my family. Like, you know how a lot of people grow up, playing with your cousins and stuff. Like, I had none of that. None of the contact with, aunts giving you gifts or or none of that. And I was just kind of curious as to why. So I called my cousin today, matter of fact. Spirit guided me to do it today. And he shared with me something that was, I guess, shouldn't have been surprising, but was, in that it was just a simple thing that my dad experienced, the same thing that I had experienced, which was both a situational cause and just an overall age cause. So the reason that we did not have contact with our families, obviously, was a situation with our parents getting divorced really when we were really young. And then, of course, my dad wanting not to have any contact with my mom or my mom's side of the family, which would have led to contact with her. My dad actually died when he was around the same age as my parents got divorced, actually. He was like 5, where we were 3 where it happened. And I had never really thought about what that meant, in that my brother and I both were late comers, unexpected, unwanted late comers. My dad, I'm realizing, potentially was the same thing, in that he was born, his parents had no interest in any more children. All of their other children were grown, if not at least teenagers, if not at the point of, my cousin said that they were all married and gone away, but I don't think they were quite that old. I think once my dad got of age to where they could actually interact with him as a person, they were all grown and married and gone. But I think they were born, they were teenagers, and that's why they actually raised him. And so part of the reason I think he had no contact with him is they actually didn't have a connection. His siblings saw him always as the baby that they had to raise, probably not wanting to. So in their interactions, they never really got to know him as a person. He was just always the baby, and that's definitely something that I, having been born into a family where the children were old enough to be forced to care for us, and like I said, being that our parents were, not wanting to care for a child, kind of put that on the older siblings. And I'm realizing, like, my dad went through the same thing, and so that was a part of, or at least in his case, the main reason that he had no contact with his siblings is that they just never developed a relationship, because per the age. Now, of course, the experience part being that my dad's dad died when he was very young, and his mom got remarried, and so there was obviously different things that were going on in regards to the family, in regards to that. So, I have a phone call. I wonder who it is.